Hey guys, and welcome to another Factorio Friday Facts discussion. Friday Facts 206 today, and workflow optimization. So, first off though, some very exciting quality of life changes have been implemented for 016, and belt fast replace improvements. So, this part is written by Kovrex. They've hired or essentially are kind of sending someone new through a trial period. Dominic is our new programmer in for a testing period. He was given the task to add support for fast replacing splitters and belts in a reasonable way, and he ended up extending the functionality a little. So, adding a belt junction. So this is kind of showing when you place a splitter, it looks like you can just place on top, whereas now you have to remove the piece of belt and then place the splitter where you want it, right? So that's a really nice quality of life improvement. And then removing it is kind of the same thing, is you can just stick a belt right over it here, as you see, and it just removes the splitter and gives it back to you rather than having to pick up the splitter and then replace the belt. So that's really nice. And then even for undergrounds, kind of the same deal. You just place an underground on top of a belt and then extend it how far you want and place the other in, and it just automatically gets rid of the belt in the middle, and you don't have to pick up the belt in the two spots you're actually placing the entry and exit, which is super nice. Just really, really nice quality of life stuff. And then same with removing it, is if you just drag a belt over top of it, it will just get rid of it. I mean, we'll give it back to you, but you don't have to pick it up again and then place the belt. This one, I saw some comments some people were making in the discussions on the forum and subreddit, and I would somewhat agree. This particular functionality, this last one, could maybe become a problem. It depends what all it works with. I can see you if you are running along trying to bring belt somewhere or something, and you accidentally step aside or get carried by a belt and your mouse moves and you just do this over undergrounds, it could really mess up your belts or your bus or whatever, and then you have to try to figure out where your underground was that you didn't want to remove. So this could potentially become an issue, more of a annoyance sometimes, but overall I would say it's really good. And then these ones are super, super nice. The new guy who's in his kind of trial period, I think did a really good job here. This is awesome to be able to do this for sure. Just all these quality of life improvements are pretty huge. And that's one of the great things about Factorio and the development, is not only do they optimize it to insane degrees, which we'll get to a little farther down here, not only do they add entirely new features and stuff, but just all the quality of life stuff that just makes it so much better and easier, that when looking back, I was actually talking with some people a few days ago, looking back at 014 and even before that, it's I forget exactly what we were talking about, but we were just saying, how the hell did we, play without this feature before, some feature that came in 15. I think it might have been just holding, clicking and dragging modules through beacons or something, or copy pasting the same way instead of clicking each individual one. We were how the hell did we play this way before now? And it's this type of stuff too that is just gonna, once it's in, it's just gonna be so nice, and you're gonna think back and be wow, did I really used to have to actually pick up each thing and then replace it with the thing I want? So this is just really, really good. We go down here. So this is some technical stuff, and some of it I understood, some of it I did not. However, one of my awesome patrons, Afflixion, he did a nice kind of TLDR summary for me to read to you guys that will probably make sense to non-technical people, including me. So big thanks to him for that. It really does kind of help clear things up rather than me just reading something I don't actually understand at all. Anyway, Kovrex ends and says, this is something I wanted in the game for a long time. And we now go into some technical stuff. So compile time optimizations. Our seeding explained in Friday Facts 201 how important it is for us to not only optimize the game for you players, but also for us, so we can speed up our change, compile, run / test cycle. Which is important, obviously, being able to do that quicker. So hardware, I will go through this because, this is, well, I won't go through all of it, but so Kovrex, when he returned home from my holiday this Friday, I noticed that the recompile time of Factorio on debug mode took almost 5 minutes, which is more than was used to. We checked the CPU temperatures and memory speeds, and they're okay, but the compile time was still double of what others have on similar hardware. It turned out that is most probably caused by slow SSD speed, which could be caused by writing a huge amount of data when working. From what I found on the internet, the typical SSD write capacity is something around 100 terabyte. I think that stands for. He said 1 terabyte, but then he edited it back in that he actually meant 1,000 of data, which is not so hard to approach if one recompilation cycle Factorio generates 5 gigabyte of data. It is quite possible that the drive gets slower as it approaches its limit. Actually, the lifespan of my specific SSD is typically a year or less. Wow, that's really low. Luckily, our new computers with sweet i9-7900X, so they've like upgraded computer hardware to i9s, which is really good for stuff, I would imagine. I know the i9s have like some insane amount of like hyper-threading and cores and stuff that probably helps with their compiling things. So CPU we're ready to assemble at this time, and I'm planning to get enough memory to compile a RAM disk to prevent this problem in the future. So after half a day of fiddling, I installed everything on a brand new computer so I could test the compilation speed, discovering that it still took 2 minutes was not really satisfying. So then step 3, and this talks about Boost, a program. So instead of reading through this, because again, it's kind of, well, it's actually quite technical, I'm going to go through just the summary that Flixian wrote. So for Boost, it's a piece of software. It's a simple open source C++ libraries for common everyday tasks. It's optimized for ease of use, so kind of it's easy to use, but not optimized for speed or efficiency, which is part of the problem they're running into here. It can bloat the size of the binaries depending on which libraries you use, and so Coverx got rid of Boost and halved compile time, which is kind of, it kind of goes down here to say that, and then, our current goal is to get rid of the Boost library completely. The conclusion is that moving from 5 minutes compilation to sub 1 minute in 1 week feels good, and it is worth the trouble to improve it from time to time until a better language for our purpose is invented. So then the test runtime optimizations. Another thing that was done to improve the speed of our change compile run test cycle was the improvement of the automated test run speed. Our seeding made a great feature that runs the tests in parallel, which is especially useful with our new 20 thread systems. So yeah, the i9 20 threads, like pretty ridiculous, but really good for this. So again, kind of back to the summary is automated tests make sure nothing important broke with the latest build. So that's what these tests are that they're talking about. And typically they run one after another, like in series, but our seeding made this awesome feature that makes them run all at the same time in parallel. So go to all our seeding again with the awesome optimizations, even with their own stuff. So this allows them to run them all in parallel. Debug mode, this is kind of, it's 5.92 times faster. Same here. So this must be like the original, and then this is the way our seeding did it. Difference, 8.49 times faster. So then essentially the test suite, all tests put together, runtime greatly improved in all cases. Release and heavy runtime is as long as the slowest set of tests. So essentially, like the slowest set of tests is kind of what limits how fast they can do it and stuff. But they really, really improve this, which is obviously good because then they can do their tests faster. They can, know sooner if something's broken and then fix it and redo it faster rather than having to wait, a fair while like they did previously. So optimizing stuff for themselves is also really good. It's just really cool to see like the behind the scenes stuff like this. Even though, like I said, even though I don't understand a fair bit of this myself, I know a lot of people do. And even if you don't, just the fact that they share this really, I think, is awesome. Just that, it does, these guys actually share what goes on behind the scenes. So we kind of know what's happening. And that's part of what I love about these Friday Facts and just everything with Factorio, is they just share like pretty much everything that they can that goes on behind the scenes and stuff. So you really know kind of what's happening to get the game that we actually receive and play, which is really, really cool. And then last, but certainly not least, high-res pipe entities. As pipes and pumps are high resolution already, it only makes sense to upgrade the entities that tile with it, such as storage tanks and pump jacks. So here we go. Pump jacks now in high res, and same with the storage tanks. absolutely fantastic. I love these pump jacks. Like, you can, maybe it's just because it's like close up or it's on the special background or it's high res, maybe all three. But just like, I'm now noticing like all these pipes within the pump jack I never actually noticed. And then like the valve, like the connector here, like, dude, like there's even like little turn off handles in here. This is so cool. It's amazing what you notice when it's and high res. This is so cool, actually. Yeah, there's like little like shut off valves like in this pipe, and then these go through. You can even see like the bolts or rivets that are like holding these together. Oh, this is so cool, dude. I love it. Pipes are already high res right now, and then storage tanks as well are. And just like the detail, like the little rust and stuff, you know, like we just kind of took some like, you know, metal lying around and threw together a tank. Some people were complaining about bubbles in the oil, that's like not realistic. And oh yeah, like here, while it's not realistic, I think it's just some people replied and, you know, said, well, yes, it's not technically realistic, but it's for more of like like transferring or conveying information to the player, which I think is reasonable. You know, yeah, I don't know the oil really bubbles, but just doing this kind of makes it easier to tell there's actually something in there, since oil's black and stuff, and this is really dark anyway. So I think it's fine just kind of to convey the information to the player. But overall, really love these. I'm still waiting on the RoboPort. I think the RoboPort is going to be super cool. There's even like I just noticed this other thing. This like mini little piston like thing that's attached to here. I actually never noticed that. That's interesting. Man, this is so cool. I could just sit here and look at this for like 10 minutes. But there you go, guys. So that's the Friday Facts. Pretty interesting. I really like these quality of life improvements. Love the HD graphics, or high-res graphics rather, and knowing these optimizations and they got some hardware upgrades is also fantastic. Should just increase their productivity overall. So anyway, that's going to do it for this one. As always, thanks for watching. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments as always. Yeah, if you did enjoy, feel free to leave a like. But until next time, I look forward to seeing you all, and do take care.